Welcome back to CFB Nation. I'm your host, Nino Brown. You probably get sick of seeing me on a Thursday night, back to back. But I got my guy Michael Anthony, and this is Road to the Draft, episode 3. We are 7 weeks out from the NFL draft. Big Mike, how we doing?
Good. I was about to call you Mr. Back to Back, but I think Drake is a little outplayed right now, so I didn't want to call you that. So I'm glad you kind of gave yourself, going back to back. Feeling pretty good, man. The combine just ended, at the end of last week. So, man, we are in the hot button season right now.
Yeah, we've been talking, in DMs lately about some of the clickbait that we see out there and some of the things that people are salivating over. Hey, and to each their own, because we get Damian Pierces every year, and we get the N'Keal Harris, and hey, not everybody can be right, because if it was, this would be a boring community. We're going to talk about an interesting group, positional group that seems to kind of fluctuate for everybody in their, outside of their top three, and even their top three amongst the community, and even the draft experts. This is the wide receivers in the 2025 class. And as we start out the show, not so the top guys, but some guys in the middle of the pack. We do this guy or that guy, and who you like more. I'm gonna start it out with Pat Bryant or Nick Nash. I'll start this one off, Mike. Nick Nash is criminally under talked about. Okay, like doubled up Tet McMillan in touchdowns, had more yards than Tet McMillan, more receptions than Tet McMillan, more targets than Tet McMillan. Like, he literally should have probably won the Blitnikoff, right? And they didn't give it to him. Or did he win it?
No, he didn't win it.
No, he
No,
didn't.
Travis Hunter won it, I believe,
Yeah,
right?
that's right. Exactly. Travis Hunter. I got the gear on, the
Yeah.
Buffalo gear, but I don't know if he was deserving. Nick Nash is lives in the air. He is a contested catch dude. There was almost 40 opportunities he had in contested catches here.
Yeah, 38 I have.
Yeah, like 50%. So 50-50 guy, right? He's going to go up there. He's going to get it or he's not. But he's that guy. What I find that made me kind of pick him, because they're similar body structures, similar size and weight, right? They both played on the outside. Nash played 93% in the slot this year. You want to talk about versatility. So last year, when it was kind of his coming out party, almost 900 yards receiving, 8 touchdowns, right? Played outside for like 90 plus percent. This season, switched it up, put him in the slot, went off. Right, so you're talking about you could have that big slot guy in Nash, or you could be that outside contested catch guy. I think when it comes to this pairing, whether it's Pat Bryant or Nick Nash, I'm going to go Nick Nash. I think Nick Nash is criminally under talked about, and I think he has opportunity at the next level to kind of take off.
Yeah, I agree. I think both of these guys are going to be very good football players. I don't know about fantasy wise. They kind of don't profile in that way, but they do profile as two good, you mentioned Nash playing in the slot, but these guys profile more as X wide receivers, their body type, their contested catchability, stuff like that. I'm going to go with, I think this is very close, so I have really no disagreement on what you said about Nick Nash. I personally like Pat Bryant slightly more. I think this dude's hands are some of the best in the class. This dude has absolute Velcro for hands, and I do notice that Nash has a bit of drops, not a whole lot because he's targeted so much, so it kind of doesn't really matter all that much. But Pat Bryant's got some absolute fucking mitts, man, and that was really impressive to me. Again, very close, very similar body types, build, stuff like that. One thing you forgot to mention about Nick Nash that I think goes underplayed is this dude goes 110 miles per hour, everything. He just is always on go, and I respect the hell out of that.
Pass pro. He's a big body guy. He's available when it comes to like run block, and he's going to move his defender around, set up the edge. Former quarterback, turn wide receiver, Nash. But like I wrote in the top 3 categories I like, and it was run after the catch. I think both of these guys after the catch, super slippery. Right, we saw Pat Bryant literally win a game in overtime, or right in the fourth quarter, where there was 3 guys around him, and he just took it to the crib, end of the game, like for 40 yards out. So I absolutely love both these guys, but I just think Nick Nash, like, again, not many guys. Like Our guy has not many wide receivers.
No,
Seven, 17%. So, and I get it. Like I said, competition, but look at Aston Jenny, right? Like he was on Boise State and he was putting up gaudy numbers and gaudy stat lines, and he's RB1 in a lot of people's, lists here. So I just think Nick Nash playing out in San Jose State, like not many people watching them. Not many people more people scouting, the helmets instead of the player. I think this kid can give you some versatility at the next level, right? You can play him all over. Contested catch guy, red zone guy, can eat up the targets, but also willing to sacrifice his body for the run game. So I like their game, and again, very similar, like you said. I'm a little bit more Nick Nash than Pat Bryant, and you're just a little bit the opposite way. I don't hate it either way. I just think that's why I put them on the stock. They're very similar in a lot of the things that they do.
The other thing you got to remember about Nick Nash too, I know he's a converted quarterback, but he is older as compared to a Pat Bryant. I think Nash 5-6 years in college, if I'm not mistaken.
5 years in college.
5. Okay, yeah. So I mean that's a bit up there, but again, it's about a year difference, give or take. I think both these guys are going to make an NFL team happy, whether they be prime fantasy producers or not. That's going to be remains to be seen. But I think coaches are going to be happy with both these guys.
Yeah, these guys could be, wide receiver 3s, and then, all of a sudden down the stretch, our fantasy producers for you guys when it comes to playoffs and stuff like that. So, in year 1 anyway. Next guy's on the docket is a guy I loved for 2 years, and he's never really lived up to the hype for me. Savion Williams or Torrey Horton. And the 3 kind of things that I wanted to target on was body control, downfield threat, and just an all-around weapon. I'll let you start this one off.
I prefer Torrey Horton a little bit more as just a pure wide receiver as opposed to a Savion Williams. I know we talked about it down in the Senior Bowl. When I watched Savion Williams' film from this year, he was a little bit too gadgety for me, and I fell for that a few times. It kind of hurt my soul slightly.
Mm-hmm.
But I really like Torrey Horton's ability to go up and get it. Another guy who can win. And I also, when I watch his game, I know a lot of people say that he doesn't show a whole lot of like pass block or blocking reps. I see him getting in there and getting scrappy. And, whether that's going to be, something he's extremely good at, I see a want to, right? And I think he's a better route runner, a pure route runner than Savion Williams, because his breaks are a bit more crisp than Savion. I think Savion's a little bit more raw, in my opinion.
Yeah, when it comes to route running, I agree. And the gadgetness only came this season, and I think that had to do with how TCU wanted to use him. I really thought that in college, he was everything that they wanted Quinton Johnson to be. He was better at every possible. Even the year that Quinton, he just performed better. And then they didn't really feed him the ball. It was a little bit of an injury, missed a game or two, He had numbers, but wasn't crazy. This year was pretty good, but they used him like a Curtis Samuel type role, where I think with his body style and his frame, maybe at the next level that works. What I love about Torrey Horton, as you mentioned, the downfield capability, and he tacks the ball, bro. He catches he has long arms and catches so many balls fully extended that his catch radius is huge for a guy that's not that big, right? And this guy is a grinder downfield, right? You can press him. If you don't get him on the line, bro, look out. You're already screwed. And
he's stronger, too, than I think people give him credit for.
Exactly. He does well in the press coverage. A lot of guys try, because of his frame, they think they can kind of manipulate him at the line of scrimmage. It's a good route runner. He has some twitch to him. I really, really love his hands. I've been on the Savion Williams train for 2-3 years, and he's never really lived up to it. Maybe at the next level, if they figure out how to get the most out of him, that's how TCU did this year, where they kind of Deebo Samuel type role with him. But then again, how long is that longevity in the NFL? Maybe 5-6 years before your body starts to break down.
We just saw Deebo get traded for a 5th-round pick, man. I didn't even think it was that bad.
Thank you. Exactly. So it's where they value at that type of position when you're not an elite technician when it comes to route running, when you can only run maybe, say, 4 out of the 9, right? When it comes to being downfield, you're supposed to be a contested catch guy, but sometimes you can't control your body or be aware of the boundary. Those are concerns to me. So in this case, I'm going to have to go Torrey Horton. I agree with you. And then the last one, I got Ty Felton or Ricky White.
This one hurt my soul, man.
This was a tough one as well. Kind of. The inside-outside game,
Mhm.
because that's one of them is good at one of them is at the other. The route running and the speed. I'll let you lead this off as well. Who do you like better here?
I hate this one. I really do because I don't want to pick either one. In a good way, I don't want to pick against the other, to be honest with you. I like both these guys a lot. I'm going to take Ty Felton here, but what I like about Ricky White is his vertical ability. I think
Mhm.
he's got that locked down compared to Ty Felton, right? I think he's more versatile than Ty. I think he could play special teams. He could play, anything. Blocked how many kicks this year? Was it two or
Two,
something
I think
crazy
two,
like?
one for a touchdown as well. So
Yeah. So
yeah.
this dude is an absolute dog, and any NFL team is going to be happy to get him. Ty Felton, on the other hand, real crafty route runner, can kill you in the short to intermediate part of the field. Extremely fast. We just seen him crush the combine with like an over 9-something RAS score. I think it was like one of the highest
Mhm.
RASs for the wide receiver position. I know it's the underwear Olympics, but this is kind of some of the stuff you see on tape: the good footwork, the speed, everything that is there with Ty Felton. If he gets that second, third round draft capital, which I think is possible,
Yeah.
which I definitely think is possible, he's going to be like, if he ends up in Pittsburgh as an opposite to like a George Pickens, that could be wheels up because that's a dude who is a target earner, unlike George.
Yeah, speed, right?
Mhm.
Gets in and out of the breaks well. It's kind of like a Honda Civic standard. Just the gears just shift, bah, bah,
Yeah.
but nice and easy, right? There's no like lull to when he gets in on the brakes, but the speed just continues to grow as he's getting downfield. The short and intermediate game, I think he cooks, right? Route running, as much as I like Ricky Wright, but when it comes to being,
It's
consistently,
raw.
a consistent technician at the route running, Felton's better, got that better. And then he understands how to sit down in zone coverage
Mhm.
and get open for his quarterback, and you know what I mean, and find the best leverage. So when it comes to that, I got to take Felton. I love Ricky White as like that, like Julian Edelman type guy when it comes to your football team. We'll do anything. We're never going to give up. He's always going to have that high motor. Any way you need me on the play, special teams, pump return, pump block, whatever you need, I got you. And I'm always going to give you 110. I'll be better than majority of the guys. I don't know if some of those traits that he lacks in, I think at the next level won't be able to let him be like that wide receiver two, knocking on the door of maybe at a certain time being a wide receiver one. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think Felton profiles better as like a wide receiver too than a Ricky White does, who probably could be a 3 on some teams. Like if he came to Philadelphia as just like a field stretcher, I think that'd be perfect.
Yeah. That would work. I like that a lot as well. All right. So that was our, this guy or that guy. We're going to switch it up a little bit. I'm going to go with late round sleeper before we kind of get into the meat and potatoes here. For me, my late round sleeper, it's funny. You kind of mentioned it, and I was literally, I had it on the dock. Um, Xavier Restrepo for me.
Okay, yeah, I love that.
Because I think he has the capability of being, like you had mentioned, not as well as he is right now, but as how he's can work on the inside, can work on the outside, always grinds and plays with the chip on the shoulder because people don't really give him enough credit. He's not talked about it. Stuff that Amon Rock, Zay Flowers type role can play on the inside, can play on the outside, have twitch to him, right? With Zay putting on a little bit of that muscle going into the combine, he got was able to play a little bit more physical at the next level. I think Restrepo has that capability. You can use him in bubble screens, the short game. He can run a bunch of routes. He may not be a technician at all 9 routes, but he can run a shit ton of routes. He's a grinder, right? Another guy who knows how to sit down in zone coverage. Another guy who when your quarterback comes off platform or off script needs to just change things up. He knows, all right, I found my quarterback. Let me go to open spot. Let me get my guy the opportunity to make a play. He's always aware of the boundary. Like, not for a big guy, but can go up there and get a contested catch if necessary. Not afraid to go across the middle and take a lick. Will get right up. So he has that. I think he did well at the combine, right? I think a lot of people are kind of like 50-50 on him where they feel
Which
he
is
could be.
crazy.
Yeah, I don't understand it either. I think that maybe it's just a lot of smoke because we always talk about teams may downplay guys because they want them, and they want other teams to think they're out on them. I just think this guy, with all the names in this class and a lot of guys that are so bunched together, could fall to somebody, and be, a guy that was a later pick that did counts the names, just like Amon St. Brown that went ahead of him on how well he's doing year after year. So that's my sleeper.
How late do you think he goes?
Man, I think he could probably fall late third, early fourth. You know what I mean? There's a lot of guys.
I was going to say third at the worst, to be honest with you.
It all depends on, you're starting to see a lot of.
Everyone's obsessed with the shiny new. Yeah, everyone loves the shiny new toys,
It was a contract too. That also matters, right? It all depends on how many guys keep getting cut and released or traded. As we just seen Christian Kirk get traded to Houston. If a guy goes to New England to fill that void, now there's a receiver in the draft that starts dropping backwards, right? So that's why I'm concerned. A lot of these guys that want to get traded, a lot of the guys that getting released. This could shake up the wide receiver room and where we take it. And Travis Hunter, he's another guy that shakes up the market because where does he get drafted? Does he get drafted as a DB? Does he get drafted as a wide receiver? Right? If he gets drafted as a DB, he still says he wants to play, both ways as much as he did in college. So he could throw the script off a little bit on a team that needs a wide receiver where they could be. So we're going to get to that in a little bit, 5 through 12 here. But yeah, he's a guy I think that could drop. That doesn't deserve to drop. But I think
absolutely not.
And maybe have a Josh Downs type NFL career. Just being that guy in the middle field that just knows how to be open, grind, always going 100%. Can't slow it down when necessary, but his motor just cooks like the Energizer Bunny. So for me, my late round sleepers Restrepo. Who you got?
Yeah, first off, I just need to say thank you for bringing up Restrepo because I think he, like you mentioned, he is the forgotten dude. Honestly, if he goes later than the third round, I'll shave my head. To be honest with you, because I think he's
live on the stream.
I don't even care. Yeah.
Yes, you're here, guys. All right.
This dude is an absolute ball player, man. And we don't even mention the fact that he broke all the records in Miami. And if you guys know for sure that Miami's had some of the best wide receivers to ever play football. Andre Johnson, Michael Irving, Reggie Wayne. It's crazy the numbers he has on that team. And everybody just kind of forgets about him because he goes and does his job at the Senior Bowl, at the Combine.
And he's quiet.
Yeah, exactly. And there's nothing wrong with that. You could take your Bayshall Tutins all you fucking want in the second round. I'm going to be taking Xavier Restrepo all day in rookie drafts. I'm sorry, I had to go on that tangent. I actually have two guys, and it was two guys that mock draft database has pretty low in the draft, in the NFL draft. I'm going to go with first one, Kyle Williams from Washington State. They have him as a fifth rounder right now. Or no, sorry, hold on, let me check my notes here. Yeah, fifth rounder per mock draft database. Guy who knows how to move with or without the football, release package, route running ability. Second, he gets the ball in his hand. He's one of the most underrated yak wide receivers we have in this draft. Had a solid combine, not anything crazy. I believe he ran a 4.42 or something like that. So it was a nice number. Second guy I have, 6th round pick according to mock draft database. I'm going to go Kobe Hudson. Another guy who can move a little bit, right? He got some route running chops. He's got some release chops. Hands are going to be the biggest question mark with him. He makes the hard plays look easy, but the easy plays look so difficult. I don't understand what it is. He just got to lock in a little bit more, I think. I do like Kobe Hudson. That was a really, really late round flyer, and maybe a guy who I think he gets drafted, but 6th or 7th round.
I think he's late round, possibly UDFA, but makes a team. I think he reminds me of a guy that he played with the year prior, who was Javon Baker, guy that was contested catch king. But there was some times where he just made things a little bit too difficult, and kind of got in his own head. But I like Hudson. I think he's a better route runner than Javon Baker is. I think they're both kind of physical wide receivers. They like the handshake.
They got some good movement skills, man.
Yeah, we've seen that at the Senior Bowl right off the rip for line of scrimmage. Right off the line of scrimmage, he's got good footwork. He doesn't have the spaghetti noodle neck when he's making cuts. I love Kyle Williams. But my main concern for Kyle Williams, I think it's kind of getting to be the concern for teams at the next level, is top of route separation. My grandmother's got more separations in playing basketball than Kyle Williams does at the top of route. So it's like that is starting to be. So if he's not beating you off the line of scrimmage or in the first couple of
He's
moves,
done.
Yeah, you kind of lock down.
What do you think that is for him? Speed or is it quickness?
I think that he doesn't have that long
top end speed. Yeah.
Right. But you know what I mean? Where once I start moving around, I'm quick in my movements, but I start to lose that speed when we're coming down, working ourselves down the field. So if I don't separate, and if you're telling me to run a 9 route, I'm probably not going to pull away from everybody. You know what I mean? So I think that's it. Has to be a little bit of, because a lot of his stuff, you look, it was all across the middle, right? Between the hashes, or he worked his way from the inside to the outside, short intermediate routes, boom, where he, after the catch, was able to do his thing. So I like Kyle Williams. Like you said, he gets open all the time. I think, but that's a concern at the next level, is because you're not always going to be able to get those quick routes. We're going to need some of those, top of the route separation. Can it get taught? Yeah. But normally at this point, if you don't have it, it's usually not something that you acquire at the next level.
He's also been pretty consistent with 5 different quarterbacks at Washington? 4? Because he transferred.
I want to say 3, right? It was Cam Ward,
Mater. I think there was 2. I can't remember. There might have been 3, but I feel like there was more.
One before Mater. Mater didn't really take over the job, right? So was he solidified starter right off the rip? I don't think so. I don't think so quarterbacks for the first 3 weeks. So I think it was so it's 3 quarterbacks. But yeah, he's done it, and in different styles, right? Because Mater's more of that dual threat quarterback, immobile, and Cam Ward's that sitting in the pocket. Yeah, please try to sack me. I would like you to try type quarterback. So yeah, I love his game, like I said, but that deep top of the route concerns, I think the NFL level is starting.
You think he could be a 3-4 on the team?
I think he can. I think situational landing spot will matter. A guy that can get the ball out quickly, a guy that does well in that short and intermediate passes.
Slot guy,
isn't afraid to make those tight window throws, right? Because Kyle's going to slip between defenders, so I think he could excel there.
What if he ends up in Tennessee with Cam? That would be fun.
Reunited, and it feels so good, right?
Yeah, he would take Treylon Burks' job in the slot, I would think, because I think
you could probably take Treylon Burks' job, buddy.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, look at what's his face in Hyde. It was a 3 receiver, Nakeem Hyde, whatever his name.
Yeah.
He was a wide receiver 3. Yeah, and he outperformed Treylon Burks for 2 years in a row. So it's
a fall from grace for that dude.
Yeah. Well, I was never a fan, but we'll get before we get to the body of the 5-12, because I know we're kind of both up against.
No, you're good.
We're gonna hit the would you rather. We'll do this one quickly. Would you rather Tutu Atwell just got a contract extension, or LeJohntay Wester?
It's insane to me that Tutu Atwell is making more than Derrick Henry, because he's making 10 a year. It's just absolutely insane to think about. But I got to take him. I did not. LeJohntay was probably one of my least favorite wide receivers in this draft for me, to be honest. I know you're wearing the Colorado stuff right now, so I apologize. Body catches, and there was a route. It was a deep route. I forget exactly what the route was, but it was against UCF. Put his arms out like this, and he put them out so early that the DB was able to go, get that out of here. No late hands whatsoever. He's letting it come into his body. I can't do that. And especially with his size, he gets bullied around a little bit too much.
Okay, he gets bullied. But I mean, the year before, he's removed from 107 receptions and 130 targets to FAU. Now, I get it. It's FAU. But something had to work to be able to catch the ball. Sure. What I liked about him a lot was the fact that he went from being an outside, I'm the dude receiver, so I'll go to a loaded room to show you that I can be a football player and be whatever you need. And that's something that he said. That's why he said he went to Colorado, to show that he can show his versatility to be at the next level. My guy can kind of run a shit ton of routes, right? He's a grinder. He can be anywhere on the field for you. Yes, he does not attack the ball. And yes, there are many a times where he has early hands and his eyes also give away to the defender. But he's a a guy that's going to stretch the field for you. He's a guy
He's
that you
got
can,
some speed, man.
yeah,
I'll tell
yeah,
you, he
he's a
can move.
speedy guy.
Yeah.
He's like I said, you can kind of work him any way you really need to. It took Tutu a long time.
It did. It's still taking him some time, but even for him to get 10 million
right.
is crazy.
Right. Well, I mean, last year it was kind of his coming out party in a year where he wasn't just, I'm just going to fill it in. He played all year for them, right? He was targeted almost.
That's because they needed like Puka to get hurt, Cooper Kupp to get hurt, Jordan Whittington got hurt. Like they needed to go down to the bottom of the barrel a little
right, but
bit.
he's a Tez Johnson type guy who got
that's
almost
fair.
600
Yeah.
receptions, right? Like 600 yards and 40 receptions. So it's like those guys. It's going to take until you find the perfect situation. It's going to take a little bit, right? Year one they tried using him. There were many, bro. In the playoffs they used him. He dropped a touchdown to win the game. So like they believed in him. They believed in his talent. So I'm going to go against you here because I think at the next level, I think that Jonte can be an asset to a team. I think he can. Listen, if guys like who was the Patriots wide receiver for the last 3 years?
Demario Douglas?
No, the guy who was at San Francisco and then came over to us.
Shit.
If that guy can have a 8-year NFL playing career, right? I think LaJonte West can bring to a team.
I thought you were going to talk on Demario Douglas. I was like, that dude can actually play. Like,
no, he can play. No, I'm not saying that the gentleman can't play. That came over. I'm just drawing a blank on his name right now, but I think this kid can bring something to the next level. Like I said, he can play on the outside and win. He can go up there and get the ball. That's why I think he was playing in a different role. Why he was making body catches, I don't know. But I watched him at FAU go up and get the ball and attack it with his hands and contest catch opportunities. I watched this kid go across the middle and stab for the ball, not body catch it at FAU, right? Like, so maybe because he was playing in a different role, some of the opposite things were different style quarterback. I don't necessarily know. I do know that he tested well, right? I do know that he played well I think he was at the Shrine Bowl, right? He played well out there as well. So I think this kid could be an asset to the next level. I'll take Wester here. Okay. Josh Palmer or Isaac Tesla.
You couldn't get any more pretty much spot on with the two ways they both play.
Right.
This one's tough. I like Palmer. He's kind of the guy you could spot start, like if something happens in LA or
done it for years.
Yeah, he's done it. So it's kind of hard to bet against him. But like if you just were to copy and paste Josh Palmer somewhere else, it's going to be Isaac Tesla. So I mean, it really just depends on where he ends up. For right now, him being in LA, I got to take Palmer.
Yeah, I think I like Tesla. I think he can play that big slot, 6'4", 200-something pounds, right? He has some speed, has some wiggle to him.
Can win above the rim.
Right. Yeah, he can go up there, he can play in the air, right? But he also can he's got some twitch in his route running ability, right? He can leave you sitting there with your shoes untied if he needs to. We saw a little bit of that in the one-on-ones down in Mobile. But I've been a Josh Palmer guy since Tennessee, and I've gotten into many arguments.
He can play, man. It's like
I've gotten in many arguments. Oh, whoa, he never lived. Every single time, whether he had to play in the Mike Williams role because he was hurt, he got it done, right? Whether he had to play in the Keenan Allen role on the outside, he got it done because those guys got hurt every year, whether it was in the beginning, both of them, and he just came in and filled the big games. This guy, I've seen him get like 7-8 catches, may not be for 140 yards, 7-8 catches, 80 yards, just matriculating the ball downfield, throw it out to the boundary. He goes up and gets it. A guy that's proven, like you said, can fill in, can spot stop for multiple games when necessary. I like Tesla, but I think he has to be a team that has the opportunity for him to play like that big slot role. Like I said, I think Palmer can play big on the outside. Doesn't have to be in the slot, right? And we've seen him do it for the last 2-3 years now. Whenever necessary needed to be called in, he's come in and got it done for them. In long stretches, I've seen him perform in like 2-3 stretch games where you're like, all right, I played him in fantasy many a times because it was necessary, and he's shown up and done it. So give me Josh Palmer on this one. And the last one, would you rather Jalen Tolbert or Jameer Dikey?
I'll roll with Dikey on this one. It's kind of similar play styles. He's probably going to What did he weigh in at? I forget. What did I have it down? I think here somewhere.
Thank you. I'm not sure.
6'1", 196. So actually, probably a little bit bigger than Tolbert. Actually,
Yeah.
I think he's got some good speed, good quickness, willing blocker too. He was getting up in some. He's the transfer from Wisconsin, right?
Yes. Yes.
So he kind of plays to me like a Big Ten wide receiver.
Yeah.
Like, gets in there, gets in blocking. He's going to be a good NFL player. So I'll roll with him. We'll see what happens.
I'll take the athletic kid that took a little bit at the next level. Small school, South Alabama dude, Jalen Tolbert. Another guy when they believed in him, right? And he just couldn't catch on that first year. And then second year, injuries happened and they gave him another opportunity. Started to flash towards the end of the year. This year, we kind of seen him take off. He was a guy. Brandon Cooks was injured down the stretch and really wasn't, at 31 years old, really wasn't putting up the numbers that we expected from Brandon Cooks. And Jalen Tolbert kind of filled into that role, right? He's silky smooth. Right?
Mm-hmm.
He's got that motor. He just, like I said, you see the athleticism as being a former basketball player also at South Alabama. So I'll take Jalen Tolbert here, a kid that grinded. You're starting to see it at the next level begin to show, and I think no matter what Dallas does, in the draft, if they grab a wide receiver or in free agent, I think he's still going to be that three for them, and I don't think he has to worry about it. I think his targets are going to be there, and I think right now. And I know a lot of people, Dallas fans, a lot of people, Ferguson guys. I think right now he is a more attractive weapon in that offense than Ferguson is right now.
I was actually about to ask you that. I think that they address the wide receiver position. I think they end up taking like 2 or 3 guys, kind of like backfills, especially guys towards the end of the draft. And it wouldn't shock me if they take like a tight end that, almost is like a Jake Ferguson kind of clone, because we saw that with Dalton Schultz. We saw that with Jake Ferguson, who were kind of very similar players, possession tight ends.
Yeah.
I could see them doing that again and bringing in another tight end. So will Tolbert be a 3 there? It just depends on what they really do in the draft for me.
He got 80 targets as a 3 last year.
Yeah.
600 yards. He averaged them a little over, I think, 12 yards per catch. And I think he found the end zone over a half dozen times. So, but he was quiet. It's not a big name. It's not someone that, you're going to hear about.
That team was direct too.
Yeah. I also believe that quietly, Dallas is in the play for Michael Mayer. I think Michael Mayer and that offense in Dallas could be.
That's actually the perfect. Yeah. That's the
Dalton Schultz 2.0, just regurgitated.
And probably better than Dalton Schultz.
Yeah, right. More athletic, more speed to him, younger. But I think that they're in play for him. I just think he's kind of not been flown out there.
I didn't even think about that. Or what if they go out and get Evan Ingram?
Right. But you're going to start to see pieces fall. You know what I mean? And but I think Michael Mayer's value and the cost for him is cheap.
It's cheaper.
Brock Bowers, right? So like they're kind of like just like Josh Rosen when they drafted Kyler Murray. I could give you a quarter of the value on what he got drafted at and get a what if, an opportunity to let this guy ball. And I think in Dallas offense, he would be a thing. But I like Tolbert's game. Like I said, he's as a 3 was a spot 2 for them down as a run. They trusted him. 80 targets, right? The kid can play, inside and out. He eats, can find the end zone, and not afraid to take hits. Like I said, and he's athletic. So give me Tolbert here in this last one of the Would You Rather. All right.
Maybe I just don't want to pick a Cowboy. That's probably what
I understand.
No,
I get it. All right, we're going to talk about wide receivers 5 through 12. We got about 15 minutes before the end of this show, 10, 15 minutes. And we're going to talk about our wide receiver 5 through 12. I'll let you talk about your first 2. Give me 5 and you know what? Give me 11 and 12. And
I was going to ask, did you want 5 and 6 or 11 and 12?
Yeah,
all right.
11 and 12.
Let me go backwards. Listen, I'm having trouble telling myself to keep him here, but I got to keep Tez Johnson at 12. I wanted to take him out because of that combine showing. The speed wasn't there. I was shocked with how slow he was. But hey, the quickness drills that he had were actually pretty solid. And that's kind of his calling card in the first place. A guy who's just electric as a route runner, electric with the ball in his hands. Mm-hmm. I think his draft capital took a hit. I still think if he falls late enough, I'm going to take some flyers on him. I still believe in the player. And then, not only that, I'm looking at like Tank Dell right now, who's like a very similar type player. He's bulkier than Tank. or Tank's bulkier than Tez, but Tank's now on his fifth injury since he's been in the league, so it's unfortunate. He's going to probably miss the rest of the season because of an ACL surgery he's having now. So that one kind of scares me. And a dude, my number 11, dude we talked about earlier, who I just I love him. I think he's going to be a great football player, and I think he could end up being maybe something fantasy wise. Could be like almost like a spot starter in an emergency break in case of Ricky White. Man, I think the dude can play. I still got Ricky White at 11.
All right. Listen. I'm a Ducks fan. I was talking about how good Tez was at Senior Bowl. I watched him for 2 years. I have concerns, man. That combine is probably one of the strangest combines I've ever seen. Right, like his 3-cone, he was top, but his 40, he was super mid.
But we do say, in fairness, we do say those quickness and cone drills mean more
than the 40.
Than the 40.
Yeah, I agree. But then again, Tutu Atwell took 3 years to be something. Tank Dell, yes, he was something, but he can't play a full season, and he's consistently getting hurt.
He may have just lost his job with Christian Kirk too.
I don't know if he lost his job
for a year or two. It's a rental, but
I don't think Tank Dell plays this year.
That's what I mean. He lost.
So I don't think he lost his job. I think it's all right. We'll get Kirk for this year. See you later, bro. He had one good year and then had a bunch of mid seasons after that.
Mm-hmm.
I have Tez outside of the 12. The size, the people at that weight, what they've done at the next level, the odd combine. I love the kid. I think he can be a weapon at the next level, but I have him right outside of 12. I have Kyle Williams at 12.
Okay, I love that.
I think, yes, top of the route separation is a concern, but I don't think the weight is a concern. I think he can play. Like I said, he plays in the middle of the field with no problem. That short intermediate game is there. He gets separation off the line of scrimmage. Tez is twitchy as all hell, but I think that if Tez goes across the middle, I think he could get that Tank L treatment where you could be getting an injury left and right off of him, because the next level, the hits come a little bit harder, a little bit faster. So I got Kyle Williams at 11, at 12. At 11, I got a guy I don't think anybody's really talking about, because he had a year of injury and then a half a season where the injury took a little bit to come back. But I think his game translates absolutely to the next level. And I think what we saw at the Shrine Bowl, seems like he's healthy. He has hands. He probably has one of the best set of hands in the class. I'm gonna go Juice Wells here at 11. I think Juice Wells out of Ole Miss, formerly from South Carolina. He's a big play guy, right? Has hands. Yes, there are some injury concerns. Because like I said, year and a half of him being injured. But man, this kid is baller, right? Deep threat, good body control, he's boundary awareness. He's a dog. It comes, he can run routes. He can probably run at least 6 out of the 9 routes. So I like Juice Wells, and I got him at 11. Again, I haven't really seen anybody really talk about Juice Wells in their top 12, but I think when all said and done, I think this guy is going to be a dog at the next level. I think he kind of, the flashy item of not being in this last season, not putting up this big flare of numbers, kind of turned people down. But I know at that year at South Carolina, right? Spencer Rattler's senior year, Spencer Rattler will thank Juice Wells 1,000 times over, because he was the dude for him that whole year. So I got Wells at 11. What do you think about those two guys before we go up?
So I love Kyle Williams, right? I need a little bit more film on him to kind of get like a real feeling on where I want to put him in because I think he would be a top 12 guy to me if I had more film on him.
Mm-hmm.
Everything I've watched is either at the Senior Bowl, TV games, like actual watching Washington play. But I think the dude's a baller. So I could absolutely have him in my top 12. It's just I need more. You know what I mean? I just need to see more. It's not his fault. It's more that I can't find anything. Juice Wells, I don't really like him as much. I feel like he's not. How do I put this? I'm looking at my notes right now. I like the South Carolina film more than I did the Ole Miss film, and I think that's not all his fault. I mean, you got a guy like Trey Harris who's absolutely balls to the wall this season until he got hurt. but then Juice didn't really take over, as the one there when Trey was out. So that's kind of something got to worry about. And I think his route running, especially his separation, is a bit inconsistent. So we'll see. I've heard some good things about from the like you mentioned, well, not the Senior Bowl, the Shrine Bowl.
Right.
Maybe I'll end up being wrong, but again, this is not a guy I'm super impressed by.
Like I said, I love his competitive, style.
He's got the juice.
The dog, yeah, he's got the juice. He's got that rack, right? Like, and when it comes to run after the catch, he's a guy, deep play capability. I agree. He does have some problem when it comes to separating, when it comes to shaking defenders with quickness. And he is inconsistent when it goes, up in the air, 50-50 balls. He's probably about 50-50, right? So I get that, but he has some of the best hands when it comes to tracking the ball downfield in this class, and for his size. And he has that Energizer bunny to him. We've seen guys that never give up, right? Just constantly grind, given the opportunity, and just go off in the NFL. I think his traits translate to the next level if he can, tweak some of the weaknesses when he gets there. But I like his game, and I think it translates to the next level. All right, let me give you 9 and 10. I put him in here at 10, but I have questions. But I think it's a lot of, we talked about, he has a lot of things that the NFL level wants. You talk about living above the rim, not afraid of the competition, not afraid of the moment. But I've seen him kind of just like take off plays, not kind of ball out when he should have balled out. I'll take Elic Elamina out of Stanford here at 10. But I mean, if this kid can, I don't know if it's a mental thing. You know what I mean? I'm just not sure what it is. He's a smart kid. You went to Stanford, so you got to be smart. But I don't know if it's a mental thing when it comes to football. But if he can, like, there's a lot of times that I'm like, man, he kind of like stopped, or he like gave up on that route, or he didn't like go up. You know what I mean? Like, you jump and I jump, but then you guys go up to go get a ball. I feel like, yeah. Like, at times he's jumps.
Not that guy.
Yeah, but he's not like he gives it like 70% when he goes up there to get the ball. Sometimes everybody wants to talk about the Travis Hunter game. Yeah, great. That was a great game, but that's really the only game that he was like the guy, right? We've seen a wild play, and then there's times we kind of takes plays off. Like, if I had to give an example of an overall playoff like that, I always like, he's really good and he takes plays off. Overshawn for Texas, the linebacker, before he got drafted to Dallas, that was my biggest concern. Like, bro, he would go downhill, blow up a play. He would see the running back coming out the line of scrimmage and wait the perfect time and just annihilate that. And then there'd be times that he would look like he was like a 6-year-old kid playing minor league baseball and throwing grass in the air. Like, oh shit, I missed that assignment. Right? And that's how I feel like, I was like, I'll go up there, but if I don't come down with it, I don't care. But what I see when he's giving that 100%, or when all cylinders are clicking, that type of receiver definitely translates to the next level. And I think a lot of GMs and OCs are willing to take that risk on a guy who has that capability outside of, more so than guys like Kyle Williams or even a Juice Wells. So I got Elic at 10. Who do you got at 10, and what do you think about it?
So let's talk about Elic for a second. He is outside of my top 12. That dude fades away more in contested catches than Michael Jordan in the 90s. Like, I could not stand watching him. He is probably a more athletic J.J. Arcega-Whiteside to me. And being an Eagles fan, yeah.
Wow.
Soft.
Wow.
Yeah. I am not in on him at all. My number 10 is a guy that, had a good Senior Bowl, had a really good combine. Jaden Higgins, Iowa State, big body. I think he moves well for the size. I think, like, if you look at him and Tet McMillan, both their movement skills for their sizes are very impressive, and people just kind of forget about Jaden Higgins. Some things I worry about with him, some body catches. We saw it the first day at the Senior Bowl. Had a couple drops, especially in those contested catch things. That is something he's going to have to work on at the NFL level to keep him on the field. But he's got the size, he's got the movement, he's got the speed. I actually have in big bold letters, I don't know if you can see it, needs to use his hands better in contested catch situations. He needs to attack the ball a bit better. And that's something that can be taught. in my opinion.
At size, though, that shouldn't be something that you need.
True,
to be tall,
you would
right?
think.
You know what I mean? You would think. So
He's better at it than Elick, though. Let's be honest here.
Well, yeah, I don't know if he's better at it or if he gives more effort. It seems
Yeah,
as though, you know what I mean? It's like
fair.
I just feel like sometimes he just goes up there with like, if I get it, I get it. If I don't, I don't. Where Higgins is gonna go up there and attack you at the 50-50, but he might not, come down. He might need to cradle it like it was a Hail Mary, but he'll go up there for it. I don't have a problem with that. I'm bigger on his counterpart than I am on
he's
him.
next for me.
Yeah. So 10 at Elick. At 9 I have at 9 I'll go 7, 8, 9. I'll just say it and then we'll talk about it. At 7 I have Bond. At 8 I have Jalen Noel, and at 9 I have Jalen Royals. So I think when it comes to Noel, I think, man, he's just dangerous. That's just what comes off to me. He's a dangerous weapon. He can be used anywhere. He can get you off the line of scrimmage. He can get you, in and out of the routes. He has violent, dirty, nasty hands. You want to talk about attacking the ball? My man attacks the ball before you even see it coming in. He's already at it. Got it. Good. I'm gone. I like his game. He is super underrated. A lot of guys are in on Higgins. I'm sold on Noel. I think this kid is going to be a pit bull at the next level, and he's going to be a kid that just gives you everything on every rep, and you are going to have to peel the skin off of him to not make him catch the ball. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think you're going to have to worry about any type of effort or anything like that. His hands are golden, and like I said, he is an absolute dog when it comes to getting off the line of scrimmage and beating dudes. Jalen Royals, I like him a lot. I really do.
Shout out to Andy Pham.
Shout out to Andy Pham. He's been on it since the kid was probably in diapers. But I think he showcased a lot over here at MA Mobile when we were there at the Senior Bowl. He played, they tried to press him. He was playing bully ball, right?
Oh, I love it.
He was open 90% of the time. I think he's another guy that could be a 2 at the next level, but will probably start out as a 3, right? And I think he could be like a Jalen Coker at the next level. Like a lot of guys, he was a Holy Cross guy. People didn't think about a little small school guy, but bro, they had plenty of he was better than Deontay Johnson was in Carolina. All right. And the kid, it was the 2 for them by the end of the season. But was probably wide receiver 5 coming into it, right? He was a late round draft pick. I think, Jalen Rose would be drafted well before Jalen Coker was, but I think he has that capability, day one coming in and being an asset and a producer for a team. I like everything he does. Like, he just constantly grinds, constantly works. I always say, like Andy, we always talk about me and Andy was, he took a weakness, turned it into a strength, and now he's really it's one of his best things he's got. Bond at 7 for me. I thought he was going to be faster. When you
go man, so did I. When we do the Dynasty Dogs episode, give you a little tidbit here. He's a faller for me from the combine. I did not see him running the way he did. I'm sorry to cut you off because I know this is your time to speak here, but it just shows the inconsistent combine, the inconsistent film, the inconsistent play at Alabama and Texas. It's like, oh shit, I think we need to kind of start looking into this a little bit more. Yeah,
there's a lot of inconsistencies there, and I don't know if it was it Bond or was it Quinn Ewers' inability to get the ball downfield. So I don't know, because we saw Matthew Golden blow him away all season. We saw Matthew Golden blow him away in the playoffs, and we saw Matthew Golden blow him away at the 40 in the combine. So for me, I dropped him down a few spots here, and I got him at the 7th spot. I think he's a good wide receiver. I think he also runs good routes. He can go down the outside, but there is a lot of inconsistencies to his game. And we've seen it with 2 quarterbacks that are inconsistent, though, as well. So maybe with the consistent quarterback, maybe there won't be any inconsistencies in this game. But when you go out there and tell me you're going to break a records, bro, and you're 0.3 off, that's
so bad.
That drops you down just off the rip for me. So that's my 7, 8, 9. Who you got at 7, 8, 9?
I'll go 9 first. Is Jalen Noel. I do have him a spot above Jaden Higgins. I have really liked Jalen Noel since right before we went down to the Senior Bowl. Gives me, I don't know if you're going to agree with me on this, Tyler Lockett vibes. Good guy down the field, can win in contested catch situations. They're not the biggest dudes, but they do play above the rim pretty well. Has good movement skills in and out of their routes, got the speed. They're both not great at yak because we know Tyler Lockett famously just dives down before he could take a hit. Noel, it's not the same, but he's not the best at yak ability. So I like Noel a lot. I think he could be a nice piece to an NFL team and probably to fantasy as well because he does profile that way.
Right.
So I like him a lot. I'm glad you have him. My number 8 is Ty Felton. Talked about him earlier. Again, this is a dude that can win in the short to intermediate route. Crisp route runner, aggressive route runner. Clean in and out of breaks. Solid hands, dude. At one point, what did he have? Like no drops for like a bazillion targets or whatever it was at the beginning.
I was going to say through like 10 weeks or something like that.
It was
9 weeks.
insane.
Yeah.
It was insane. So I really like Ty Felton. I think he could be a guy that could be a number 2 on an NFL franchise as a guy who could play. He could play on the outside a bit because he's got what's he 6'1",
Yeah,
6'2"?
he played like 70-something% last season. So.
But I think he could be a good slot option too, because he's a guy who can get open quickly and kill in the short to intermediate, like we mentioned. So I like him a lot. And then my number 7 is Xavier Restrepo, and this is at no fault of his own. Well, we mentioned it, man. We love this kid. He could be in my top 5 at any second. The second he gets good draft capital, because I think that could be possible. Dude is. At one point, he was the best route runner in the class to me early on, and I still think he's in the top 5 as a route runner to me in this class. Just super quick, super twitchy, super manipulative, gets in and out of his breaks super impressively, has no problem getting in your face when it comes to contested catches. He's not going to win them all because of his frame, but he's going to give you something. He's going to give you a little edge to him, and I love that. I think Restrepo is going to be the guy that people pass on in fantasy, kind of like they did with Ladd McConkey, that you're going to be looking at in 2 years from now, and you're going to be like, fuck, I really should have taken Restrepo. Because he profiles perfectly as those PPR just monsters who gets 8 targets, 6 catches, 70 yards, maybe a touchdown. Like, give me that all day over Tootin. Give me that all day over. I'm sorry. The Bayshall Tootin shit has gone way too far. Just give me, I'm sorry. I hate to keep doing that, but he's spring loaded now because of the combine. Restrepo, just an all around good football player. Give me every single time.
I love Restrepo. I have my concerns of why the NFL has concern. Why is he not getting talked about? Why is he?
Sometimes it's those dudes that don't get talked. Like Ladd McConkey. Yeah, he had a really good Senior Bowl, but he stayed the whole time. He grinded it out. He wasn't as talked about as the Brian Thomases, the Marvin Harris. I mean, yeah, it was a loaded class, but he wasn't one of the upper echelon guys to a lot of people.
No, but we knew Ladd McConkey was probably the best route runner in the class, right? We knew that. That's something we knew. He just had injury concerns. You know what I mean? Xavier Restrepo gives me the Quint Allen Jr. wide receiver vibes.
Okay.
Not elite at anything, really darn good at everything. Unfortunately, at wide receiver department, the guys want something that you're really elite at. They need a trait. You know what I mean? I think he has. I love his kid. I love his toolbox per se, but I have some concerns. The size is a little bit of a concern. He's short, but he's stout. It's
built like a running back.
Yeah, where's his role going to be at the next level? Is he a 2? Is he a 3? And if he's a 3, where does his draft capital fall in there? That's why I have him as a sleeper, right? Because I just don't really know.
I'm wide awake on him. I ain't sleeping.
No. I say a sleeper. He's going to be a late draft pick, later than a lot of guys, and then he's going to come out there and just start going off, depending on where he lands. Maybe in Arizona with Marvin Harrison, and Kyler Murray. That could be really fun. I need to see where he lands. But I love his game. I do have some concerns at the next level, but he's a dog for me. All right, 6, 5, and 4. Okay. Right. Well, it's not 6. It's not 6, 5. It's 6, 5, and 4. Yeah, it's 6, 5, and 4. 6, I got Jack Beck.
Okay.
I think everything tight end converted to wide receiver, outplayed Savion Williams this year. I mean, we could talk about the Cinderella story with everything that's going on. His brother passed away and dramatically in that New Orleans, but took over the Senior Bowl. How he won the Senior Bowl with 7 seconds left, scores the touchdown. Warriors supposed to. But he's the type of guy. He could have an Anquan Bolden type.
That's a good one.
I like the next level, right? Big body receiver. goes up there, not afraid to go, make those contested catches, very aware of the boundary, right? Plays well. Kind of a little bit of an upright runner when it comes to his routes. Maybe doesn't run all the route tree, but I mean, Anquan Bolden was best Ravens wide receiver probably in history. I love Steve Smith, but Anquan Bolden was that dude. Then he went and did it in Arizona with another Hall of Famer, and Larry Fitz, and was eating. Like, there was games where Anquan Bolden was the 1 and Larry Fitz was the 2. I think his game and what he brings to the table, how he could be so physical. A lot of DBs are going to struggle with this guy. He gets to a quarterback that's really good at getting the ball up there, bucket throws, leading receivers. I think this kid could be a game breaker early. Like, I don't want to say Brian Thomas Jr., but he has the capability of having that Brian Thomas Jr. production year 1 if he hits the right program, in the ground running. 5, Matthew Golden, leaps and bounds. I think he's probably my biggest riser in this wide receiver room. I loved him out of Houston. I had concerns, and so it was like, how did Sammy Brown beat you out that final year you were in Houston? Like, you should have been the guy. I know you were injured, but like, he was a dude that was willing to play special teams and did it. He was a guy that would, anywhere on the field, he flashed that speed at Houston. I'm worried that jam-packed wide receiver room, right? They had a shit ton of guys at Texas. Is he going to be the guy? Like, they brought in Bolden, they brought in Bond, and they brought him in, right? They had those 3 backs in the backfield that had pass catching capability, right? So it's like, he just said, nah, bro, you guys got to hold my beer. I'm the guy here. And we watched him in big games. Dude, in the college football playoff, he was dominant when the ball in his hand. He was cutting everybody up. And then you saw him just blow everybody away in the 40, like, for the wide receivers. Like, everything at the combine for him was, sky's the limit. Yeah, he made it look like, I don't even think he sweat, to be totally honest.
No, I don't think so either.
So I think this kid leaps and bounds. Him and Trey Harris. Trey Harris is at 4. Him and Trey Harris have taken the biggest jumps for me. I've been a fan of Trey Harris since La Tech. Don't get it wrong. When him and Smoke Harris were out there killing everybody at La Tech, and went to Ole Miss. I'm like, oh man, let's see what he's going to do with the next one. And then just skyrocketed year 1 at Ole Miss, and again in year 2. Like, Jackson Dott better send that dude a car if he gets drafted in the first round. Like, straight, he better Kenny Pickett his boy, because it is the reason why he's in the first round. He gets in the first round, and Trey Harris is a big part of it. But I love Trey Harris's game, like everything he can do. Like, he's all around wide receiver. He's definitely a 1 for any team. Like, impact player, day 1, dog mentality. He can moss you, right? Mm-hmm. He can also just leave you sitting there in your skivvies, dude, with a quick in out step, and you just He has it all. He checks all the boxes for me. I mean, I think I can even put him in my top 3, but it's just, I think what the other 3 guys bring at the next level, it's just a slight bit more than Trey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but I think in last year's class, he might have beat out a shit ton of dudes, let me tell you.
Oh, for sure. For me too. I have him and Golden in the same spot you do, just flip-flopped. But like, in my OG or my original rankings, or what I would have them at, is 4A, 4B. Like, there's no 5 there. It's 4A, 4B for me. Because if you were to ask Mike 2 years ago who his number 1 wide receiver is, it'd be Trey Harris all day long when it comes to this class right now, because he's the big body, go up and get it. Dude, those hard slants are very A.J. Brown-like.
Yes.
And oh man, he's just so fun to watch. But then Matthew Golden brings a different dimension, like the acceleration, deceleration route running, the tempo route running, the fluidity as a mover. He has that a bit over Trey, because Trey's bigger, bulkier. It's not going to be as easy for him to do those kind of things, obviously. They both can make the big play. It's just they're night and day different playmakers, in my opinion. But my number 6 guy is I think he was your number 9. So I'm surprised. I think you're going to be surprised I have him here. Is Jalen Royals to me. His floor for me is Khalil Shakir, because they play very kind of similar body types. 5'11 plus 200. Just give him the ball in his hands, let him work. Really good yak. Really good route runner. Impressive. Like, he was 80% at the Senior Bowl. Allegedly wasn't still healthy at the combine.
Right.
That's a little concerning. And he was still out there cooking dudes all the whole week long. The first 2 days, I don't think he lost a rep. The third day, might have been, all right, I'm a little tired now. Like
I
I've been
did
cooking.
enough.
Yeah, I've done enough. I think he could be a second round pick, in my opinion. This dude is a baller. And thank God for Andy Fame for letting me know about this dude. Because I was just messaging him back and forth like months ago about guys from this class. He's like, you need to check out Jalen Royals. Turned on some of the highlight stuff because there was no film at that time. And he just jumped out. Like his floor to me, like I mentioned, is Khalil Shakir. His ceiling is like AJ Brown type stuff. Like I don't think, the yards after the catch, the bulky size, the can get up and get it. I think he profiles probably more as a slot in the NFL. There's nothing wrong with that. There's no such thing as a derogatory word with slot anymore in the NFL.
No.
I think Jalen Royals is a dog.
I love his game. Like I said, I just my concerns are how guys like Shaquille Shakur and Curtis Samuel, how often do they finish in the top 20 in the NFL? How often do they even finish in the top 45 in the NFL wide receiver?
Khalil Shakir does.
Once.
He averages 10 to 12. Well, it's really
Oh, yeah, but 10 to 12 yards. But how many?
No, 10 to 12
points
points a game. 10 to 12 points a game. But what I'm saying is,
oh, I'm not talking fantasy. I'm talking
my fault.
about at the next and in football, right? Like Khalil Shakur was what pick? 4th round pick?
4th round pick, yeah.
Right. So like that's why I have him. I feel like, that's.
But look at all he does for Buffalo.
Agreed, but Curtis Samuel.
That's the floor for me, though.
No, I understand. Not everybody's going to hit the ceiling, though.
True.
You know what I mean? There's probably more guys are going to hit the floor than they're going to hit the ceiling. It's not to Jalen Royals at all. I'm not saying that he's not going to hit his ceiling because I think he has the capability to. I just looking at guys that meet his type of play and what they've done at the next level. If he's forced to be a slot guy the whole time, I got him as a late third.
Okay, still nothing wrong with that.
No, not at all.
It's
like a lot of those, you're looking for those. Who was the guy before Khalil Shakur that they wanted? Isaiah McKenzie, the same type of style, like wide receiver, like that Buffalo likes, like that slot, chunky slot guy that can got some speed to him. But so I love his game. I've put him literally between 10 and 6 since midway through the season of college football, as I had my rankings go. You know what I mean?
Actually, now that I mentioned his ceiling and his floor, his medium is probably Chris Godwin. There's nothing wrong with that.
I don't. Maybe. Yeah. I don't know if he's Chris Godwin. I don't know if I see enough of his game to be Chris Godwin. A full healthy Chris Godwin.
Oh yeah, that dude's a monster.
Yeah.
But a full healthy Jalen Royals. We only saw him alive.
We haven't seen a full healthy Jalen Royals in the NFL. We've seen a full healthy Chris Godwin in the NFL, and he can be an absolute
unit
problem, dude.
Mm-hmm.
So, but again, it's ceiling floor, and if he checks all the boxes, maybe he possibly can be. Real quick note, no reason why before we close out the show. 1, 2, 3.
Burden 1. I have issues whether I want to put a Mecca over Tet, but I'll just stick with what I have right now until the draft, Tet and then a Mecca.
Okay, before we close it out, then I'm going to go with mine. Mine is Tet 1, Mecca 2, Burden 3. I just think what Burden can bring at the next level is the reason why I have him over Trey, or Burden might have been 4. I think that slot capability for Burden and that physicality working out of the slot. Like, you want to talk slot guys at the next level, he's going to just go off.
Difference maker.
Yeah. But we now know that Washington's out of the picture for him, right, with the Debo trade. It'll be interesting.
Disco's open now.
Right, yeah. But again, he's taking him at 11? I doubt it.
No,
right?
I doubt it.
We'll see what happens. Tune in next week. I think we'll be breaking down the last offensive, category playmaker-wise, tight ends. Before we get on to the IDP side of it, we'll be 6 weeks out. I am Nino Brown. That is my co-host, Mike Anthony. Check him out at Dynasty Dogs. This is the CFB Nation. Road to the Draft, Episode 3. We out.